Hey guys, I am Caleb Giddings here for Gat Daily.
And I am Keith Finch, the editor of Gat Daily.
Also here for Gat Daily. Right. This is Gunday Brunch, the podcast of Gat Daily. I probably need a nap, but I'd like to start this episode by thanking our wonderful sponsors, for whom you will see a banner if you're watching the visual episode. And if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, I think it's just called Google Podcasts now. Regardless, wherever you're listening, thank you. Please keep liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and telling your friends what worthless clowns we are. And again, this episode is still dedicated to the guy who called us worthless clowns, because that's so funny. But
I love it. I'm going to keep being a valueless clown just for him.
I really do enjoy boomer hate comments, especially on some of the last videos that we've done where we have been skewering sacred cows. And the fun thing about this video is that I'm recording it before I read the comments for the video that we just recorded, which I'm sure will be great. If you had your feelings hurt by last week's video, please understand everything that we're saying here is meant in good fun. And also, you know, when we talk crap about guns that we like, it's usually guns that we own. And when we talk crap about fandoms, everything bad that we said about a fandom, we have been guilty of at some point.
It's true. This is all stuff we've done, guys. We're poking fun of ourselves as much as the fandoms themselves, because we've been there. We've been that guy. Yeah. We have.
I could do a roast of me from like 20 years ago as a gun owner, and it would just be a roast, and it would be 20 years ago, me as a gun owner, I was walking, how old was I 20 years ago? I would have been 19. Okay, not 20 years ago. Whenever I was turned 21 and got my concealed carry permit, and I'm walking around with a Ruger GP100, a 4-inch full-size gun in an Uncle Mike's holster in traditional IWB, because fucking Jeff Cooper said it's supposed to be comforting, not comfortable. So it didn't matter that I couldn't conceal it. My pants didn't hold it up because it was supposed to be comforting, not comfortable. And that's what fuck Jeff Cooper said. So yeah, I was an idiot.
I, on the other hand, was a full-blown 40 Smith & Wesson fanboy. It was the greatest caliber on earth. And I carried my FNP proudly.
Oh, man. Oh, the FNP was an underrated good gun.
It was such a good TDA pistol. And had I got it in 9, I would still have it. And I probably would have gotten the upgrade, the FNX, when that one came out in 9mm too. I still want one, and I still want the one in 45 too, just because red dot, big boom, just cuts.
No, that seems perfectly reasonable.
But like, I had the FNP and I bought it in 40, and I ended up selling it and going to an M&P 45 because that thing was just unnaturally smooth in 45.
The M&P 45
so I went from 40 fanboy, like 40 is the best ever, to 45 fanboy, 45 is the best ever, until finally cycling back to 9mm where we sit today.
Well, it's funny because, you know, when the M&P 45 came out and the Glock 21, and you got the Glock 21 SF around the same time, you had this really interesting era where there were a large number of really great 45 ACP polymer frame striker fired pistols. And like, you could buy pretty much any of them and they were going to be good, which is where we're at right now with 9mm. So if you listen to last week's episode, this came up a little bit in the episode where we talked about how pretty much all of the modern 9mm pistols from reputable manufacturers are all pretty much the same. And what that has led to is the golden era of 9mm striker fired guns. Because if, Keith, I'm going to go through the list, stop me if I forget anybody, HKVP9, Glock 45, which is a 9mm, not a 45 caliber, fucking Glock in their model numbers. An HKVP9.
Right. I have the Glock 19X, which was the progenitor of the Glock 45.
Yeah.
Which they were like, all right, we're finally in Gen 5 totally now, guys. We can make another Glock that's the same as the old Glock. But a little different.
Yeah, the Glock model numbers are who's on third. So, sir, I'd like to buy the Glock 45. Would you like the 9mm 45 or the 45? Wait, what? Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to put all these guns in a bag, And the guns in the bag are the HK VP9, the Glock 45, the Beretta APX, the SIG M18, M17, whatever, whichever you like.
One of the 320 models. There you go.
One of the 320 models. I did Glock, SIG, Beretta, frick. Who else is out there? I did HK.
Walther.
Okay. Walther, yeah, the Walther's
PDP.
PDP, yeah, the precision double penetration.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who works at Walther anymore, so I'm really sorry. I can't. I see that every time, and I go.
Oh, the PDP was such.
I spent too much time on it.
PDP was a nice gun to get. It really was. I have two of them. They're nice shooting polymer guns, but because we are in the golden age. All right, thank you. Another polymer gun in the bag here. See, we'll shake it up, and here you go. IWI, the Masada is a nice one.
And it's funny because we're at a point now with these guns where, so I would consider that first bag. Those are your tier 1 manufacturers, right? Mm-hmm. Those are all great guns. Like I would bet my life on any single one of those guns any day of the week and have no concerns that it's going to blow up in my hands or fail to fire or something like that.
Yeah, you take the bag, you put it next to one of us, shake it up, be like, all right, reach in, pull out a gun, and you'd be like, ooh, a Striker Fire 9 with 15 to 17 rounds in it. Here we go.
Yeah, and I'm set. And they're all red dot compatible and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And part of the reason why they're so similar and why they're all kind of do the same thing is because the Glock 45 and the APX and the 320 series, and we're all designed to be part of the MHS competition and meet certain standards, which is kind of why they're all the same now, which is nice because they'll do the same thing. So if you like your 9mm spaghetti flavor, you can get it, from Beretta. If you like your 9mm, oh man, the number of jokes that went through my head about HK. You know what? If you like it from HK, you can get it from HK. If you if you want the waffle variant, they've got the 509 with FN, which is one we didn't. That's the problem. There's so many of these guns, and they're all so good that I completely forgot about one of them. I was like, oh yeah, the new FN LS Edge 509, whatever it's called, is apparently awesome.
A great gun with a good reputation, and so it's down to the point that. You and I are very used to getting asked the question, what gun should I get? And the standard answer used to be like, grab a Glock 19. Just because that was the big pen of the handgun world. You pick it up, you write with it, you pick it up, it shoots. Like that's what you need. If you had no answer, you got a Glock 19. Now, in the golden age of the polymer Striker 9, it's like, well, should I get this brand? And the answer is pretty much yes. Is it one of these flagship military and police contract brands? Is it their flagship duty striker gun? Yes. Like it's fine.
It's going to be fine. And that's
the answer. The answer is yes. Whatever variant of it is what the one you want. The answer is yes.
What's interesting is that the technology that has gone into making these guns so much better has also given us some downstream benefits as well. So I have a full disclosure. I was given this gun for free by Taurus. I have a Taurus G3C, which was their not their most recent generation of compact carry guns, because I think they have a new iteration that just came out. And I got one of those. And I mean, we all joke and stuff about Taurus, and this gun ran through 500 rounds with no issues. And, yes, lots of people in our community, we like to shoot more. And I'm like, well, this gun lasts 10,000 rounds. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Because it's a $298 gun. If it lasts 500 rounds, it has lasted 100 times its expected lifetime round count with the average gun owner, So
most of the people in that market, most of the people looking for that gun or that type of gun aren't going to regularly shoot it, which is something I don't necessarily agree with, but that's just the facts of the reality. Yeah. So the G3C ended up being an entry from one of the lower tier quality manufacturers that we have, because you don't produce a $600 gun and a $300 gun and make them the same. You don't do that. Material cost is a thing. and T&E is a thing, and all this, everything that goes into making the $600 duty pistol versus the $300, striker gun. There are reasons. There are reasons. These things cost. If you're anywhere familiar with the gun retail world, margins aren't fantastic on guns. They aren't, because materials cost money, testing costs money, quality control costs money. So all that money gets recouped into the duty grade gun. That doesn't necessarily go into these lower cost firearms. But because we are living in the golden age, those benefits have gone downstream. So you are getting a better, like, everything's going up in quality, just like your cheaper TVs have gone up insanely in quality, and costs have come down. Now your lowest tier on the quality of guns has gone up to a crazy amount. So like the G3C, because you've had this conversation with me. I've had this conversation with Steve Fisher too, because he's got a G3C, and he and I both shot it. We probably shot 800 rounds through it that day. And we both were like, you know what? Not bad at all. Would it be my preference? No. But if someone handed it to me and be like, hey, this is what you got, buddy, I'd be like, all right, here we go.
I was crunching the numbers on if I had to create a armed neighborhood citizen watch, and who would get what gun and all of that. Somebody would get the G3C and 3 mags and an appropriate allotment of ammunition. And I just felt bad for the guy that I was going to issue the 1935 Beretta and 35 ACP and 1 loaded magazine to. Like, here you go, save one for yourself, buddy.
So you look at what were the counter special lowest cost guns of yesteryear, and those quality, or even some of the considered quality pocket pistols of back in the day, and their reliability numbers, and then you look at the reliability numbers of something like the G3C, which in comparison is still not as favorably viewed. But looking at the guns that it has replaced and where it's sitting, it's tremendously better. All the quality has come up.
No, and it's crazy because, like, again, if you had asked me if I thought a Taurus was going to withstand a 500 round range session 10 years ago, I would have been like, get out of here, funny. You crazy. And then now I will say, once you get down below your Taurus tier, it's still dicey, guys.
Yeah,
like, it's still
there's still handguns out there, guys. There's still handguns to be avoided in the striker market. There really are, but they're in that Taurus realm now. We'll call it the silver tier of handguns. In that silver tier, there are actually some pretty decent guns if you don't have a lot of dollars on hand. So there's a good way to spend your limited budget, and there are bad ways to spend your limited budget. And
I mean, hell, before the pandemic and it got difficult to import them from Italy, Beretta was selling Beretta. I have a close relationship with Beretta professionally, and they were selling the APX at a price point where they were making money on them. And also they were going for like $400 for a gun that was competing for the MHS contract and only won because Sig did bribes. Wait, what? No, I didn't.
I watched
any lawyers listening to that for legal reasons. That was a joke.
For additional reasons, I saw the paperwork on the original solicitation. A buddy of mine, while I was in armor school, was attached to some of the contracting arms there. And so when the MHS competition originally dropped, I was in the armorers course, the armor school, and we started talking about the guns that were submitted, because on a big government solicitation like that, there has to be a competition. They are not allowed to go out and go, well, we just want the 320. Let's go buy the 320. You can do that in small batches for various units. They have that authorization. But for a big, like, service-wide, or in this case, DoD-wide change to the service pistol, there has to be a competition. The companies have to be allowed to chase down and compete for this and meet the requirements with a submission.
Mm-hmm.
But you read the requirements for the submission that they laid out, and it was very clear that whoever had put this out just wanted the P320.
Yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, I'm not saying it was rigged because it wasn't, but awesome.
It wasn't. This was a legitimate solicitation, but everything written into that contract was like, they looked at the P320 and were like, we want that, but they were open to anyone who delivered that.
It was like when I think it was, what was it, DEA did their contract, and their contract was, we want the Glock 19, but we can't say we want a Glock 19, but we want a Glock 9. I don't remember which agency it was. I remember it was one of the big alphabet soup law enforcement agencies. But guys, to put a bow on this episode for everyone, we really are in a golden age of polymer striker-fired handguns, to the point that, like, if, you know, it would not be my first choice, and I'll be very clear about this, I would even carry one of the current production XTs. Would not as my first choice. I would pick one of that, like, gold tier guns, you know, the Berettas, the SIGs, the Glocks, the FNs, the Walthers, the Smith & Wessons. That was the one, the M&P. I think I forgot the
Smith & Wesson, yeah, M&Ps.
Because we mentioned this last week. The M&P 2.0 has been done dirty. It is a great freaking gun, and y'all are sleeping on it.
So nice, so comfy to shoot. Love it.
Such a good gun.
And I'm a 320 fanboy. I fully admit I love my 320 in the aluminum frame. Like,
oh yeah,
that's my favorite.
This is not even a 320 anymore. Hang on, it's like, hey, let's think.
I turned my 320 into a 226, guys.
That's exactly. It's a 226 with a striker trigger. Oh.
Now, if only they made a hammer-fired 320 with the... Oh, wait.
Okay, hold on. Because they did make a hammer-fired 320. It was called the
SIG
250, and I shot that at the Yankee Cup. Also a great gun that people slept on, because this one's on SIG, and I'll have to end the episode on this, but their marketing for that gun was terrible, and they launched...
It was.
And the problem was they launched a hammer-fired DAO gun when everybody wanted striker-fired guns. Yes. And that was, if they had launched that gun when, like, people were buying, you know, 5946s and 96Ds for police departments, they would have sold a hojillion of them.
Yes, they would.
But they didn't, and, came and went.
It passed like a mosquito fart in the wind, and there you go.
Was a good gun.
It ran. It was a good gun. It functioned very nicely. It's like the SP 2022 that they did too. That was
also a really good gun.
That was also a really good gun. And when people were like, "Man, I need, like, I don't have a ton of money, but I need a gun," those things were going in like the $400 range, and I'm just like, there you go. There's a traditional double action, single action right there, a TDA. Right there, with the decocker, the full SIG control set, and it's a 15-round gun. Get it. Just go get it. It ran great.
SIG had some sleeper guns back in the day. But that is it for this week, guys. So golden age of striker fired pistols. They're all good. They're friggin' all good. Whichever one you get, it's going to be fine. So, you know, be blessed. Like I said, I like my 9mm to be spaghetti flavored. So I got APXs. You got 320s.
I got SIGs, and I'm a particular fan of the 19X Glock. Particularly,
I really do want to try the new FN. I'm super curious about it.
So. I do too. I just haven't run into anybody who's got it and a bunch of ammo that I can shoot.
We know somebody at FN now.
Yes, we do.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. We will see you next week with another episode. Thanks for watching.
Later.